What is up, guys? Sumi here with Thoughtcast, and today I'm going to talk about why you're not getting over your breakup. A lot of times we go through a breakup and we don't feel like we're getting better. We feel stuck. It's been 2 months, 3 months, maybe even a year after the breakup, and you still miss this person. You still want this person back in your life, and you feel like you've made no progress. You feel like this last year, this amount of time that you've spent has been literally useless, and it sucks. It sucks to feel like this. It's not fun, and it's one of the most depressing feelings that you can have when it comes to getting over a breakup. And it's one of the most depressing feelings that you can have, period. Now, there is a solution to this, and there is a reason why this happens. So first and foremost, let's start off with why it happens. The reason we get over a breakup is the simple understanding that this relationship was not good for us. This relationship did not make sense for us. It's not necessarily this person was bad or this person was evil. In some scenarios, yes, they can be. But in the majority of cases, this person is just not compatible with us. Whatever their lifestyle is, it's just not congruent with where we want to be and where we want to grow to. There are a lot of people that have been in relationships that have just not been good for me. There are also people that have been bad for me. In both scenarios, I can understand that these people were just not who I needed to be with. And that is why we get over a breakup. However, there are situations where you may feel like this person was out of your league, was really good for you, or maybe you messed up. Maybe you have some deep, immense guilt of letting the relationship go or letting it end the way that it did. And so for these scenarios, we often hold on to the idea of the relationship and we want the relationship back. We can't get over this person. And a lot of times it depends on how the relationship ended. If the person broke up with us, we're automatically put in the state where we want this person because of the scarcity, because of the rejection, and because of the way things have ended. If you feel like this relationship was good for you, if you feel like this relationship was getting you to become a better person, the reality is the reality, and the reality is this person's not here anymore. You know, a lot of times we can fixate, obsess, become needy, become available to the idea that this person was the one that we wanted to have. And this idea is really called the soulmate myth, and I'm going to crush this right now. There is no such thing as one person being your soulmate. A lot of people argue with me on this. A lot of people that are into the psychic stuff and the hippie stuff, and I'm just going to tell you right now, there is no such thing as soulmates. There are a lot of people in this world that are amazingly compatible with you. If you met all the billions of people out there in this world, you would find that there are a lot of them that make sense for you, and you would have real trouble choosing. I've dated a lot of great women in my life, and I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of good women out there that I would be very, very okay with marrying and settling down with and really starting a long-term committed partnership with. There's a lot of great people out there in this world. And there's an endless amount of people that I meet year to year to year that would be amazing to be in relationships with. And so when you operate from a mindset of abundance and you let go of this idea of a soulmate myth, you're going to start seeing that there are a lot of good people for you. See, people are not perfect. And when you meet somebody, they're not going to be this one size fits all. They're going to be imperfect in certain areas and they're going to be really good in certain areas. And it's your job to grow with them in the partnership so that both of you can work together and become a better whole. This idea of the soulmate is paralytic. It traps you in this prison that this person is the only person out there for you. So I want you to kill this idea because it's just not true. This person is not the only person out there in the world for you. There's a ton of other people out there. And guess what? You just haven't met them. You haven't. Most of you don't even know 1,000 plus people to a really good degree. Seriously. So start meeting more people, start networking, and start finding out who is compatible for you. The other thing is you can't change what you can't control. And so sometimes, like I've had people walk out of my life that were amazing people. And I felt sad after they walked out of my life. But they're not there anymore. And the reality is I have to control the situation I'm in, and that's all I can do. That is what being mentally tough is all about. Not everything is going to go your way. Not everyone is going to stay in your life. And then sometimes you're not at the stage of life where you deserve this person, where you're valuable enough to get this person to stay with you. And I know that hurts some of you. I know that might bruise the ego a little bit. But seriously, some of you are not at the level where you can warrant this person to be in your life. Some of you haven't done the self-development, the self-growth, and this person's going to go find, quote-unquote, better for them. Not even better, but more compatible for them. You're just not there yet, and that's okay. It's an amazing reminder that you can become a better person, and it's an amazing propeller for your self-development and self-growth. There are many times I've had beautiful women, gorgeous women, attractive women, and just women that really had a lot of intelligence to them that walked out of my life because they felt like they deserved better, because they placed an internal psychological bet that they can get better without me. And they walked out of my life and they left me. And it hurt and it sucked. but it was an amazing propeller for my self-development and self-growth. It showed me that, hey, I wasn't perfect in certain areas, and I needed to do better. I needed to grow as a person, and I needed to push a little bit harder. So you know what I did? I focused on self-development. I focused on my self-growth. I stopped being a baby, and I stopped the idea of holding on to something that wasn't meant for me. Sometimes it's just not meant for you, and sometimes you're not ready. It's a universe letting you know, like, hey, you need to do more. Whenever you're not ready or whenever you're not deserving of a certain circumstance or certain individual, the universe is going to take it away from you. And it's going to say, hey, look, you need to do more work. You need to stop being lazy and get up and start putting the internal self-work in. So I started working out. I started focusing on my career, and guess what? Those individuals came back to me. But when they came back, I wasn't even in the same mindset to let them back in. And that's okay. And that's just how it works. So I want you to understand that when someone walks out of your life, it is a calling. It is a beckoning. It is a universe letting you know that you need to put in the ultimate amount. You need to put in all the self-work and self-growth that you can. It is a sign to push harder, to do more, and to live in a more disciplined manner, to allow yourself to elevate in lifestyle, looks, attractiveness, financial discipline, social status, all the above. You need to elevate. So let's talk about some more in-depth stuff. Why you're not letting go of your ex. When you get out of a breakup, there's a period of time called isolation. You need to isolate. And I'm going to go through both genders here. A lot of times when a guy goes through a breakup, his friends are going to grab him and say, hey, look, go through your phone. There's a lot of girls. Let's text them. Let's go out. Let's meet new women. Okay? Now, what I'll say is guys typically go through a longer period of isolation, and it ends up hurting them. And the reason is guys don't have the amount of attention and sexual availability right when they step out of a breakup. The initial phase of a breakup are almost always harder for men than women. And I'm not saying women have it easier. Now, there's double standards to everything, and you've got to understand how they work, okay? Now, let's talk about women for a second. Women typically get a lot of attention and selection after a breakup. The girl that just got broken up with is a hot target for guys, okay? When a guy gets broken up with, nobody wants to talk to him, nobody wants to be with him, and women also get kind of repulsed because this guy's emotional and he's hooked up on another girl. Why would a woman want to dip her foot into that? Men, on the other hand, are like sharks, and they smell fresh blood. They see her in an emotional void because a lot of times women are more prone to give into unnecessary sexual situations when they're going through a breakup or when they're very emotional. Women that are very emotional are more likely to give it up to a guy that is not worth it for them. So women, note to yourself, stop being so emotional, because when you're so emotional, you will pick wrong. When women go through breakups, they're emotional. We're all emotional. And a lot of times the process is to get under somebody to get over them. Women, your friends will tell you to go out and let's go here, let's go there. You've got to slow down a bit. Because you have a massive amount of selection in the marketplace right after you go through a breakup, you need to intentionally slow down. So the period of isolation for women is typically shorter, but the pain that comes later is typically much greater. So men suffer a lot quicker, and women typically suffer a lot more later. And this is just very general. It doesn't necessarily need to apply to your situation, but this is just generalistic. What you have to understand is the period of isolation should last for probably about 2 to 3 months. You shouldn't be going out, partying, and doing too much until you've really understood what has happened and the breakup has been processed. Now, some of you might move on in a month. Some of you might be able to go out and do whatever you need to do in 2 weeks. And a lot of coaches out there will advocate this. But I'm here to avoid long-term trauma. And I think a lot of coaches don't understand that just by dating somebody and just by being in a new relationship doesn't mean that you're winning. And just by sleeping with somebody new doesn't mean that you're necessarily feeling better, okay? A lot of times you need to heal yourself psychologically. When you go through the breakup, there's a period of isolation that you must go through to really understand what just happened. This person is not part of your life. And you have to become very okay with being alone. Being alone is a superpower. Once you master being alone, I mean, you're going to really start to conquer the world. When you don't need to rely on external stimulation and validation and verification from other individuals, you start to really transcend what the world has really become. Social media in our culture today has basically impregnated our minds with the idea that we need validation from everybody. And if we're not getting enough likes, we're not getting enough follows, we're not getting enough you're looking goods or high fives or, positive comments, we are not doing the right thing. It's all about getting hierarchical feedback from everybody around us in a social manner. When you can do things by yourself, when you can validate yourself, and when you don't need anybody else, you become a very, very powerful person. And that is one of the biggest things you need to understand in order to get over a breakup. You need to really fall in love with yourself. Take yourself out to dinner. Do things for you. Go to classes by yourself. Pottery, painting, archery, cooking, yoga, whatever it is. Explore the world. Take a trip by yourself and start to understand your own processes. Create a routine. Focus on self-development and self-growth. Start reading and, light a candle and just enjoy yourself in the afternoon. Cook for yourself. These are all things that you need to do in order to fall in love with you. How do you want to be treated? And then treat yourself accordingly to what those desires are. This is what's going to really allow you to cement your mind to not giving in to temptation and not giving in to situations that don't make sense for you. I love being alone. I recover being alone. I have a lot of peace being alone. And I won't let somebody in my life unless they're really special, whether it's through work or friendship or in a relationship. They have to be really special for me to meet them in my life and allow them to come into my space. I'm telling you this right now. You have to have the same mindset. And the period of isolation is what does that. Now, this is what I'm going to say. You can become very comfortable being alone. You can become very, very, in love with yourself in the process of just being by yourself. And that's a very, very dangerous mindset because what happens is you never get over the breakup. And this is why a lot of people never get over the breakup. You might say, I've been alone. I've been doing the stuff that you've been saying. How am I not getting over it? Because you're isolating too much, okay? Being alone is one thing. Isolating is different. When you isolate yourself, all your brain knows is that past relationship because you haven't explored new things. Part of getting through the breakup is surrounding yourself with new masculine or new feminine energy, with new energy that reprioritizes your brain to think that this person isn't there anymore and that you need to start looking at something new. Being alone is also a process of you detaching from this person and isolating yourself from the connection that you have with this person. But what can happen is you can begin to isolate yourself from the world. You can become very comfortable and very okay with not moving forward in a new relationship. And you can adopt this mindset like, they'll come when they come. They'll be there when I need them to be there. No, you need to force yourself a lot of times to go and find that new relationship. Here's where you realize that being alone is starting to turn into isolation. When you start to understand that missing them does not mean that you need them in your life anymore. Okay? There's a point there. You start to logically understand that there was problems in the relationship and that this relationship may not be the way it was before. I've been in a relationship, I've been through breakups where I miss them dearly, and I always rationalize, okay, but I love them, but I love them, but I love them. And then a period of time later, I start to realize, we really didn't get along, and it's been a lot of time, and there's probably going to be a lot of trauma if we try to talk to each other again. It may not be good. It may not be okay. Maybe I don't need this relationship, but I still love them. And that is a point where isolation needs to stop, where you need to stop being alone and you need to go out in the world and push yourself and force yourself to be someone, to network and go talk to people. Many people think that after a breakup, there's just a natural flow where you go back in there and you start talking to people and you're going out and, someone comes in your life and it's all wonderful and they're going to make everything better. That's not how it works. You've got to force yourself to go on those dates where you're thinking about this person. And I'll tell you this right now. This is going to sound really dark. I've been in situations after a breakup where I've been hooking up with people and I've imagined my ex many times. I remember crying after intimacy because I was sad. I missed my ex. And I'm telling you this in a very vulnerable manner because I want you guys to use it and grow from it. Many of you have been in this situation before. I have been in bed with random people and I've been imagining them as my ex in an effort to get over my ex. I've done that. It's so uncomfortable. It's so damaging. It's not good for you. But it's part of the process in a way of healing if you've gone through that process of isolation. Now, I didn't go through the process of isolation with this breakup in particular, and that was very bad, okay? But in my future breakups after that one situation, I learned to isolate, and I still had those feelings, but they were actually a good thing because it erodes the mindset that you need this person. And, in ways, when I was with these new people, surrounding myself with them, spending time with them, doing everything I did with them, I felt a lot better. I was like, wow, there's other people that can love me. There's other people that care. There's other people that can fit into my life in wonderful ways. Ways that are better than my ex and in ways that are not as good as my ex. But it doesn't matter. My ex is not here anymore. They're not there anymore. They're gone. It's okay. They're gone. So focus on creating new stimulation with masculine and feminine energy, whichever one floats your boat. Focus on that and get yourself out there. Push yourself out there. Don't do something that you're going to regret, though. Women do this a lot. They sleep with people and they regret it. Don't do this. Just surround yourself with the energy. Next thing I want you to do is I want you to constantly write out what your future life is going to be with your future partner. I need you to imagine your future wife, your future girlfriend, your future boyfriend, your future husband. I need you to imagine these things and your children and your family. I need you to create this reality in your head. I really do. You need to cement the idea that there's somebody else out there. Your brain needs to deprioritize this person and reprioritize someone new. So first off, it's isolation. Second off, it's going out, getting more energy from people, networking, talking to people. And the third thing is, concurrently with this, is starting to understand what your future family and values are going to be. Start to understand this. Now, I want you to do something very important here. When you're starting to go out and network with people, don't jump into a relationship right away. Don't do it. The first initial feelings you're going to have is, I want to date somebody that's going to make my ex jealous. I want to be with somebody that is an upgrade from my ex. But it doesn't need to be about that. It needs to be about you finding organic connection. And it's going to suck, and it's going to be awkward, and you're going to probably withdraw a bit a couple times, like you relapse into the state of being comfortable. But I want you to understand that being comfortable is not going to make you happy in life. Being comfortable right now when you're young and you're attractive and you're going out there in the world is cool, but when you're a lot older, 10, 20 years later, you're going to wish you went out and started to cultivate those relationships. The relationships take time. They're not easy. They take energy. They take effort. And at the end of the day, you have to put in the work if you want to see the results. Don't be upset at the results that you're not getting for the work that you didn't do. So go out there, push yourself to be uncomfortable, and understand that the period of isolation must happen. For men, it's typically a lot longer. For women, it's typically a lot shorter. But the moment that you start to understand that you don't need this person anymore is a moment that you need to actively and aggressively get out there. The process of healing is not one that occurs naturally with time. Time erodes the idea that you need this person, but time does not kill the idea that you want this person. What kills the idea that you want this person and crave this person is allowing yourself to get into new situations that are better for you. And I'm going to tell you another thing too. If you are not getting better mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, you will always miss this person. If you are deteriorating, letting yourself go, falling apart, being broken down emotionally, you're going to lose the breakup. Get in the gym. Focus on your career, read more, grind harder. Don't let go of who you are and become better than you were in the relationship, because these wins on a day-to-day basis will reinforce you to understand that you are doing better, that you are doing great. Every day I stack my morning up with as many wins as possible, from going to the gym to reading books to focusing on myself to taking care of my animal and taking care of my family and making those phone calls. I stack up the wins so I can look up in the middle of the day and say, wow, I did a lot this morning, and I feel good laying my bed down at night. That's all it's about. When you lay your bed down at night, in order to avoid those negative thoughts, you have done so much in the day that you're exhausted, you're tired, that you, number one, just fall asleep. And number two, you feel good about it. You're getting 1% better every day. And this person is missing out on your growth. They made a bet that they can find better than you. Don't let them win that bet. Guys, big shout out to K&D Group for sponsoring this podcast and allowing us to film in this beautiful penthouse here. If you guys are looking for a place downtown in Cleveland, Ohio, they are the people that you need to go to. Hit them up. They will get you set up. Outside of that, guys, if you ever want to reach out to me, all my links are down in the description below. You're more than welcome to message me and reach out. And until next time, guys, sue me out.